Welcome to Stay Visionary Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Moran, where we dive into the stories behind today's most forward thinking leaders who are transforming their industries with innovation, purpose, and visionary mindset. Today, I'm joined by Emily Reynolds, the powerhouse founder behind our public relations firm, a result driven agency known for elevating brands through strategy, storytelling, and authentic engagement. With offices serving clients nationwide, Emily and her team specialize in helping businesses stand out in crowded markets, blended creative media outreach, reputation management, and now forward looking technology like AI to stay ahead of the curve. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much, Ed. So good to be here.
So, Emily, what inspired you to launch our public relations firm, and what gap did you see in the PR space when you started?
Ooh, I love that. I am on the accidental entrepreneur spectrum. So I had no business plan. I had no intention of owning a business. So I launched out of necessity and out of desire to have a different work environment than I was exposed to in an agency. I don't know how much you or the audience here knows about PR agencies, but they tend to get a bad rap. And I just thought there's a different way to enhance creativity in a work environment and still keep a fast pace and all of the things that an agency provides, and still be appreciated, respected, and have favorite Gen Z term work life balance at the same time. So that inspired me to launch my firm.
Well, we're all open minded here.
I love that.
You built a strong reputation to get on the back of what you just said. You've built a strong reputation helping clients craft authentic stories. What does authenticity in public relations mean to you?
Authenticity and public relations, I love those two together. Often they are not interwoven. We have, as a profession, a long-standing reputation of being story weavers and sometimes deceivers. And if somebody thinks something is false, if they see it in the media, oh, it must be a PR team or a PR stunt. So to bring authenticity into my profession in particular is no easy feat, because a lot of what we do is behind the scenes. A lot of it is story weaving. And a lot of times people want something different than they're getting. For instance, if your business is known for being innovative with AI and you know that internally and externally people think you're, a marketing firm, there's clearly a discrepancy in your external message with your internal service. And a lot of times that can be seen as some sort of deception. Nothing to do with a PR person, but it can be something for us to solve and put authenticity behind it while still getting the public to kind of understand and integrate into what that actual internal messaging is.
Can you give us an example?
Absolutely. So another example of that is if you're a retailer. So we work with a lot of what we call lifestyle businesses. So a lot of times somebody is selling a product, and inside of that product there is a lot of things that maybe have special ingredients, or is made by an artist, or has something kind of unique about it, and the public might not know about those unique features. So bringing authenticity from a public relations perspective when it comes to working with businesses is getting all of those nuances internally that the business has and provides, and helping that also assimilate externally, so the public is aware of those nuances. That, say you're a candle maker, your ceramic is hand painted by women in Mexico that are really, coming from an ancient tradition or an ancient practice. And you're also having candles that aren't, impacting the environment in a negative way. But people just see you as a candle company and it's $80 a candle, right? So we're having to create authenticity without using some fun buzzwords like greenwashing and saying things are sustainable that really aren't, or inauthentic positioning, like saying something is handcrafted when it really isn't. All of those kinds of things are really easy for people in my industry to do, meaning easy to kind of weave stories that potentially draw attention. But misalignment of that is something that we see really frequently. And so a lot of times clients come to us when there has been some sort of misalignment with their internal messaging externally. And what we do really well at my agency is align the messaging and get momentum from an authentic place. So I love that
you're
AI
bringing
picked up
it to
on that.
life. You're bringing the
Exactly.
product to life
Exactly.
more than just like you said in an example. There's an $80 candle.
Yeah.
Just buy it.
Just buy it.
Yeah, it'll
As
light
somebody
up
who
your
does
room.
buy $80 candles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you. I like to know that it's hand spun from somebody else.
Can you share a story, a success story that really represents your firm's creative philosophy?
Sure. I think one of my favorite success stories is pretty simple. We work with a place called Peg Leg Porker in Nashville. It's known for barbecue. The founder is Kerry Bringle. He's one of my favorite people of all time.
I've actually heard of that.
He's amazing. He lost his leg when he was in high school due to cancer.
Oh,
And so that's where the peg leg comes from, and just recreated his life and is one of the most successful, smart business people that I know. And he is tucked away in the Gulch in Nashville, and love to introduce you to him because he's great. He's a great interviewer. I've actually learned a lot from him being interviewed. But a success story is Peg Leg Porker is something people know about. It's a barbecue place. It has its own reputation that was built without the help of PR people. Kerry himself is a great representation of his brand. He has a wonderful story to tell where, for instance, what I just shared, where Peg Leg comes from. Some things that you wouldn't know about Peg Leg Porker without the help of people like myself is that it's independently owned. So a lot of restaurants, especially restaurants that have multiple locations, have investors, have investment backing. They're not family owned and operated, even though some of them claim to be. There's a misconception of that. Peg Leg Porker is family owned and operated, no investment backing. And so those kinds of things where it's like really important to the fabric of a business are things that we've written about and helped get press and media for Kerry and Peg Leg in Forbes, for example, or USA Today has written about it, Southern Living. And so we get people to know about those nuances of the internal story and then write about it and enhance it so the public then is more aware of it. And so before we started working together, which has been a while now, he had worked with a previous agency and he was just really frustrated they weren't really getting that internal message out there. And no discredit to my competitors, like everybody has a different method, but it's really important to us at my company to get that really nitty gritty journalistic style storyline so then we can share those unique features of a business. And
excellent.
And inherently, when a business doesn't change their menu or has kind of what we call like a stagnant representation, so they don't have a lot of new things happening a lot, it's really important to find those nuances of a story so you continue to build credibility and build the messaging. And Peg Leg is an example of that as well. They don't really change their menu. They're known for like a really simple barbecue menu done really, really well. So we have to come up with the different angles that help people know about them. So I would say that's a success story.
It's funny you brought that story because it's on my list to get to Nashville, and
Really?
I actually have heard of that barbecue when I was doing
Yeah.
more research on what places we go to, and yeah.
I'd love that. Are you having AI build your itinerary?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I can help you.
Maybe in location wise to be more efficient.
Yeah.
So I can't keep it out of everything, but I
Okay.
try to, sometimes freelance.
I love that.
Okay. So What was one of your biggest early challenges being an entrepreneur coming in, and how did it shape your leadership style?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually just the call before this, I was talking about this with somebody that potentially might be working with my firm in the future. I went from a very me mindset when I was a young baby entrepreneur where it was like I want a better work-life balance. I want to have these types of clients. I want to, be represented this way. It was very me centric. There was more turnover. There was not a connection, I would say, to myself and my staff. I mean, hello, it makes sense now, kind of looking back. In a way, the silver lining of that mindset was it did create, there was something in it for everybody, even though it was very me focused. I'm now an entrepreneur and a business owner for other people. I think of our agency as a place where people can grow professionally and be respected and not overworked, underpaid, and degraded, which not just in PR but a lot of work environments still have very toxic mentality. Keep this is how I learned, so this is how you learned, like kind of more of a
Absolutely.
sorority fraternity hazing mentality.
Yes.
I think if that's your style, I just don't agree with it. I would say that having teenagers, they're not going to want to work in that environment. They're advocates for themselves, even in school. That was something I never got trained in the '90s. It was not like that, but it is now, and the work environment has changed. And so we do employee surveys twice a year
Okay.
and we integrate all of the feedback. It is a roast. I take it really personally. I lose sleep because I want everyone to be happy.
How many employees do you have?
We have 22 full staff
You can't,
in
you
multiple
can't take it
locations.
personally.
Some, yeah, I do take it personally. I do because I want everyone to be happy. I want to, my messaging of like, we're the best place to work to align with being the best
I
place to
love
work. And
that.
to be honest,
I love that.
having anonymous surveys, and there's a part of me that's like, who said that, like I really want to know, but at the same time, the fact that it's anonymous gives people a platform to be totally honest.
Yeah.
And every year I integrate change, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much I fight with our HR representative or get feedback. Hey, this might not be the best business decision, or this might cost you, too much money or whatever. I still advocate in the best way possible to hear the feedback, take it, and integrate it. And, if that's what I'm known for as a leader, it's so simple, then that's what I will, go down being known for.
Do you feel that's made you a better leader?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think it's given me humility. It's made me realize, like, if you're going to practice what you preach, you better take feedback and integrate it. I will say, like, just kind of recognizing that I went from a very me mindset to a we mindset. Just, I would say, call it midlife, call it just, the stage I am in my career.
Yes.
I am really grateful for that awareness because I didn't even know I was coming from the me mindset. And now I can see it in other clients like, hey, you're having a lot of turnover. Have you gotten feedback from your staff? Have you, integrated that feedback? Have you really taken it and thought about it? It might not be right. It could just be, a moment. I don't know. But I tend to think where there's smoke, there's fire. And as a crisis communications expert, most crises happen internally and most people cause their own crises. So, knowing that, if you're able to be proactive and kind of look at what could be something internally going on, even if it's hard to see and you don't want to, I would say that's been the biggest growth and growing curve since I started my business is just that. It sounds super
So
simple.
you would say you're more proactive than reacting to everything because you're so on top of it, using the surveys as an example as one of the ways. Can you give me another way that you are being more proactive in your leadership?
Yeah, I think like I have a really high standard And so I am proactive in the sense that, like, as much as I take feedback, I also give it and have a bar that at the end of the day, the reason I have what I would call a successful business and people have successful careers working here is the fact that that standard's there. Like, as soon as you lose quality control, I think that's also a way to put yourself at risk, but also just we see this happen all the time with businesses that expand or have acquisition or kind of changing leadership. You'll see, changes that impact on the negative because they weren't keeping that same standard. Like, I always use restaurants as my example because I love restaurants and worked with them for many years. So, like, a chef that gets really famous and then all of a sudden they expand their restaurant, but they aren't, as present, and they're not checking the menu and making sure the ingredients are still up the same standard. That's going to lose its
That
quality,
happens
which
all
then
the time.
inherently, yeah,
Unfortunately, the standard starts going down, and people say, "Oh, what happened when I first came to this restaurant? It was this way,
exactly.
right? Don't we all?" And now it's like it's not that great.
Exactly. Cutting corners or, hey, we're going to use jarred pasta sauce instead of making it from scratch. People know. People know, even
Yeah.
if they don't intellectually know and they're not watching a security camera or whatever, they
Right.
know when something quality wise has changed. And so I would say another proactive measure would be making sure that quality is still there. And some people, and their anonymous surveys with me would call that, micromanaging. I do not feel like it's micromanaging. I think that is an area where I would push back and say, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm telling you the standard that we hold as an agency, and why we are good at what we do is because of that standard. And if you're not at that standard, what tools can we teach you to help you get there? What mentoring can we provide? What types of feedback for your work quality can we offer? And I take accountability first instead of putting it on the other person. What process did you miss training on? What We just had this happen yesterday. We had something happen and it was like, oh wow, we need to clear up this process so that everybody is on the same page. And that's, where the quality is there, but also we're accountable as the owners and the leaders to make
Right.
sure that our staff is set up for success to provide the quality.
Right. Because sometimes, you're going A to Z, but sometimes M and Q are missing.
Yeah, and it's on us. Like, you can blame people all you want. It's very easy to
Yeah.
do. It's like, oh man, mistakes do happen, but how did we get I look at every mistake and I dissect it. Okay, a miscommunication happens. Like, why wasn't your leader CC'd? Why wasn't this in a calendar? Why, like, okay, wait, I didn't have training that was the process. Okay, that's on us. I mean, most of the time you'll find, I actually learned this from my HR representative. Most of the time you'll find mistakes are from a lack of training or somebody just not wanting to do the job. I mean, that's
There's
true too.
always that.
There's that. But most of the time it's a lack of training. And I will
I,
say, once you
I would
try the
agree.
training, most of the time eliminates.
So getting out of the day to day, but more into technology for the next few questions. Um, we're seeing AI reshape marketing and media. How do you see AI tools fitting in to PR and brand and storytelling today?
That's a great question. AI tools are something I think of daily now. I never in a million years, when I started my career, would
Yeah.
be thinking that we would have this conversation. I loved the Jetsons when I was little, and like, just, my husband and I ordered the Neo, so we're gonna have a Rosie version, like very new version. But like, what
Uh,
I heard at a teaching I was at just recently, it was front row seat to robots in your house and those kinds of things. And
coming.
I'm like, I can't believe it's happening. And so in terms of my business, I also take a page out of the book. I'm on my kids' school board. And I had a conversation with a school principal about AI integration, and they're in high school and middle school and kindergarten. And he said it so well, and I've integrated it into my own business. It was red light, green light, and yellow light with AI. And it's just, like, again, so simple. But
Mhm.
red lights are like, we're not like writing all of our content with AI. Like, AI isn't smart enough yet, to be honest. They don't know our clients well enough yet. I did a practice once with a client, had it write AI write his bio.
Yeah.
It was a totally different person. I shared it with him, and he thought it was so funny. He's like, I didn't go to MIT. I didn't have, and I was just like, this is the power of AI, is that it picked up a whole new narrative for you based on different elements. It's checking every source possible really quickly, which is amazing. But a red light is just taking it for what it is.
Yeah, you have to check it right now. You have to
Right.
cross check it. But the more info you give it, the more detail, the more and it learns. And that's the amazing thing about it. It will get better. And
Yeah.
it is happening so fast that
So
it's hard to
fast.
keep up.
Hard to keep up.
Even us as an AI agency, it's things are dropping every week. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh my God. It's like that every week. And it's exciting, but it's also like, whoa.
Yeah. How did we get here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I then say yellow lights are like what your agency does, like integrating AI effectively, meaning, I'm struggling with my creative scope today. I need some inspiration. Hello AI, Gemini chat, whatever you're using. Give me like 12 ideas for this client to pitch. And then again, the yellow light is you're not taking it for what it is. It might just have really bad ideas. Like it's actually sourcing other people's ideas. So you can utilize that for inspiration. This would be a yellow light, but make it your own. A red light would be taking it for what it is, not thinking about it, just cut and pasting, sending it to the client as is. We don't do that. Like we utilize it as a tool, like we would utilize asking a colleague for some help brainstorming, or asking a colleague. We utilize AI as if it's a colleague. A colleague that is not trained the way we're trained, is not an expert in our field, but is able to source information for us to give us tools and opportunities to be more effective at what we do. A green light to us is I wrote a whole pitch or an op-ed article, or came up with a media list. I'm putting it in my AI software, my AI tool, and just asking it to give me additional feedback, enhance it. Is this, something that you think would be effective for this client? It'll give you some feedback on it, and to utilize that as an integrative tool, but you've done most of the legwork. You've kind of thought about it, the client best, and then you've integrated it as a green light. And so I think of that, and I think, like, to your point,
I love it.
where it's changing every day, where eventually, like, I would like to think eventually, and this is something we're thinking about as an agency, eventually AI will be running our agency, and the benefit to our clients will be similar to when you call an 800 number for your bank or your cell phone, or your airline. Is like, oh, I want to talk to Emily, I want to talk to the founder, I want to talk to somebody, and we'll be able to help you manage those tools. So I think eventually, especially with marketing, we'll be fully integrated, in my lifetime, and it'll be really fun to see. And there's still a place for human creativity. Like
Absolutely.
no robot is gonna know how to put out a fire the way we do in terms of a crisis or something going on with the business. No robot is going to be as creative. We're actually going to be given the opportunity to be more creative, because we'll have the baseline with AI ideally helping us with the everyday stuff. Sorting calendar. Publicists sort calendars. It's the dirty little secret of our industry. Sort calendars a lot of the time. We're fact checking, we're editing, we're doing competitor analysis. I want AI to help us with all those things that take a lot of time, so we can offer the service of creativity and putting together pieces for a brand, customizing it,
Mm-hmm.
personalizing it, that we don't have as much time to do because we're doing some of the other admin type of things.
When you say that's one of the biggest things with AI is saving time and
Yeah.
streamlining those processes, what is your biggest challenge, pain point? If you had a fix today, you needed it, what would it be in your industry, in your business?
I think the admin side, PR people are really good ones, are really good with people. So when you talk to us, you're like, okay, they get me. They're really good writers. and they're really good at putting pieces together from a strategy lens. I will tell you, you know enough, I know about people to know that that's a really, that combination from a personality standpoint is very hard to come by. So most people are either heavy on the strategy, you talk to them on the phone and you're like, are you there? Are you with me? But they're like so smart. They're like brilliant, but like you're wondering what's going on. Then there's some people, and I would call myself on this spectrum, like so creative. You feel really good when you talk to them, but like, my crossing the T's, dotting the I's part of my brain is not as strong as some of my colleagues that when you talk to them on the phone might not bring the same energy that I do. So I'm always, as a leader, looking for people that are either on like the extremes or, eventually sometimes you find somebody like the unicorns in the middle that kind of have both. And essentially, I'd like to supplement with AI, somebody like myself that's extremely creative and extrovert, but needs that support from like the nuts and bolts, the detailed strategy.
Right.
And, or on the other side of the spectrum, somebody's super, strategic, very deep dive, into the research, into the data side of things, help supplement that with, the creative personality, the, here's my colleague that is, happy and joyful on your Zoom call. It could be an AI bot, but really it's, still having those, because I think like just similar to humans, like AI is only going to offer so much too. We're always going to have to supplement each other. I just went to an amazing experience with, I don't know if you've heard of Singularity University, but they're a client of ours, and they really train CEOs and leaders on the future and AI and robot and all sorts of, quantum computing and like just things that like you don't think about in your everyday life, like unless you're like you, Ed, and like this is your business.
Yeah.
But one of the things I learned from that whole experience, as a week-long experience, was that at the end of it, I felt so much more creative and more alive in terms of a leadership standpoint, because I was given this opportunity to know that AI could potentially take a lot off my plate
Yeah.
that weighs me down, from
Mhm.
a leadership standpoint, answering emails, calendar checking, lots of Zoom calls. Hey, let's check in about this. Ideally, the smarter it gets, that we'll be able to supplement those types of things so I can offer my best self, which is that creative person that's just like, hey, what about this? And hey, did we meet these people? And did we think of this? And how did we integrate this? And
Well, it frees up your time to do what you're supposed to do, is lead the team and
correct.
grow.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's happening. I mean, in this, it's called executive program. There with Singularity, there were people there that work at Stanford, NASA. They're talking
Yeah.
about, we're going to have businesses on the moon in 10 years. I mean, these kinds of things
Yeah.
like are so wild. I don't even think like as a
Can't
society we're
comprehend it.
really getting
Yeah.
it.
It's
It's
coming
wild.
fast and hard right now.
It's coming so fast. And I think a lot of people in my industry are scared. My mom is the perfect example. She every day is like, hey, I just, she'll scroll on Facebook and be like, I'm so worried about your job and your business. And she's, there's a lot of scare tactics around marketing and content and these, here's the jobs to look out for, clickbait kind of things like. And I'm like, Mom, seriously, PR has been around since, BC, so like we've been integrating, how people are getting news from pigeons to newspapers to, now digitally. Like we're not going anywhere. We're just going to have to become friends with it.
And innovate and be. That's like when the computers came. Everybody thought
Right.
everybody was going to lose their job, and what happened? It made no more jobs, and
Made more
and
jobs.
it shifted things over, and like when fire came, that's
Yeah.
like it. Everything. It's scary at first, and then you see all the benefits, and then people start pulling down. Now it's coming so fast, and your example of that. I mean, you're making adjustments. You're staying calm, and you're gonna use it, because quite frankly, if you're not using it, what's going to happen? You're going to get left behind where the other when whoever's using AI and innovating and being on their top, because it brings it with all the things you have said. And it's amazing to see how you're shaping and bringing, and you guys are going to be fantastic. And I'm excited see your growth
Thank
over the
you.
next year. Can you tell me over the next 6 months to a year, what are your guys' plans on your growth and how you feel you're going to get there?
Great question. And thank you. I think embracing change is one of my strong suits as a leader. I love change, probably too much. Where I have to be like, okay, what do we need to be stable because I want to change every day. But I will say, like, something to look forward to with our public relations, my agency right now. We are integrating right now. I'm working with software AI innovators to implement the heavy lift admin internally within our agency pretty quickly. I'm hoping to launch something by beginning of next year. That will our current clients will be beta testing and helping us get that information so we can then publicize it with other companies. But one of the things that I've always wanted to solve is good PR can be incredibly expensive. And as an agency owner, I know why that is, because it's very time consuming and you have to utilize a lot of resources to actually produce a product that is impactful to a business. So you have to have writing, you have to have quality work, you have to have good relationships, you have to nurture those relationships, coffee meetings, be personalized. So, when your connection for your client comes along the pipeline, that media contact or that entity is really excited to collaborate with you because you've built the rapport with those relationships. All of that is timely and of value. But one of the things I've always wanted to do is make it affordable for a super small business or somebody that's like, an Etsy purveyor that has, a really cool sewing shop and, makes my kids' Halloween costumes. And I don't even know who they are, but they can't afford, a $6,000 monthly retainer, which most agencies charge for a baseline retainer. A lot of small businesses, that's a lot of money, but they need the support. So I'm really excited because I would love to launch a product that keeps the quality that our agency delivers, in particular, the personalized, the customized, the creative, but also is really affordable. So I think the more we're able to integrate that internally and keep the heavy lift and cut some of those costs down, we'll be able to publicize a product for super small businesses that is really automated, but also, has the backing of real people that are watching those campaigns to make sure that they're running and hitting the ground running and getting you the product that you would get if you had the resources for, baseline a $6,000 campaign. I think it's going to be a game changer. I'd like to be the forefront of that. I think
That's all.
other agencies are probably already ahead of that, bigger agencies like, some of our competitors. But as a small boutique agency, I know we offer quality, and to keep that and, have those innovative things, that's in our future. And I'm embracing that. I'm training our staff to embrace it. Check your pitches with, I'm training them, don't be scared. Let's keep using it. We're going to,
Yeah.
the more we train it, the better it's going to be for us. So let's, implement have your chat be super smart, know you back and forth. So that way we can integrate that into our platform. So it's thinking like us. So that's something that's really exciting.
That's incredible. I,
Thank you.
I love your
What do you think
vision.
from your background? Do you think that's a good idea?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you can cut your costs and streamline, so you're able to come in and for a lower cost, but still you make money obviously, but you'll on volume alone with small business because you're coming in with here's our offer, and I think that's I believe that's incredible. And
Okay.
there isn't much in that right now. But like you said, when you're already thinking about, somebody has already thought about it, they say. But
Yes.
as far as I'm seeing, a lot of our clients are trying to, they're trying to do it themselves. But I'm thinking more like the real estate office, the dentistry, the that are just getting started and need clients and need that, hey, outside the box thinking like yourself, that like peg leg, and bringing the other story to life. And that's what you do, and that's what you're great at. So for you bringing your expertise like that to small business, it's a game changer, definitely. And I believe AI could bring you there. Before we go, is there anything you want to promote or for you guys' business? What's going on?
Well, be on the lookout for the tool I just mentioned. And yeah, I mean, I hope we were able to inspire people to know a little bit more about the ethos of PR. And I really care about anybody listening. If you're just even curious, please get in touch with me. I'd love to just chat with you. We work with a lot of business owners, but we work with people as well, like, solopreneurs, as we call them, or entrepreneur, like in the works, and help guide them. And so, yeah, the world is changing quickly, and we want to be in those conversations. And it's exciting. It's exciting to think, like, my mom thinking, oh no, you're not going to have a job, to be like, oh, I'm actually taking over my own job and taking ownership of it, and really coming up with how to replace the parts of my job that I actually don't like, that I have to do. And imagine a world where we could do that. And like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the triangle of needs. I'm forgetting the name of it. The hierarchy of needs. You have your food, shelter, water, and then you get to the top, and it's like consciousness and
Yeah.
thought. Yeah, I mean, that we're able to, like, AI is helping us integrate so we can have the like higher consciousness and thought and creative thought.
So how
And
do they get
that's
in touch with you, Emily?
Emily at rprfirm.com. So, and that's our website is rprfirm,
Okay.
firm.com.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, Emily, thank you for joining us today. Your perspective on how authentic storytelling, innovation intersect is exactly what this show is all about. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this episode with anybody passionate about innovation, leadership, or the future of intelligent automation. I'm Ed Moran, and as always, stay visionary.